All right, what is up, guys? It's Metatronics and
Matt.
Matt. So, for a while, Matt and I have been talking about doing a podcast and decided that it sounded like a good idea. We have a lot of good conversations at work. We are work buddies. That's how we know each other. And that's probably a good way of saying it.
Yeah.
But we're more than work buddies.
Yeah,
we're friends.
Well, I was more thinking the good conversations part. No, they're okay.
They're okay.
We have to be quiet, that's all.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, at work, they'd like you to be quiet and actually do stuff.
Yeah. No talking.
Exactly. But so, anyway, we figured that we would give this a go and see what you guys feel about it, how you like it, if you like it, and just see what happens. We don't have a name for it right now, and we're looking for a name. And so right now, we want you guys to comment and to let us know what the names should be, what options you want to give us. I don't know.
Yeah, whatever you think fits, I guess. That's what we're really looking at.
Yeah, exactly. So, comment, leave us some notes, tell us what you thought, give us some name ideas, and then maybe once we get a few that have a lot of upvotes or something like that, then we can maybe have a battle of the names, pick something out, figure out, I don't know, what we want to do, what we want to call ourselves.
Fight.
Podcast, the Fight Podcast. Fight. The podcast, though, we don't have a topic per se. We want to hit gaming news, gaming reviews, gaming, what we've been feeling about, what we've been playing, that sort of stuff. World news. It's basically whatever interests us. Sometimes it could be code related, since we're both web developers. That could be a thing. And today there will be some of that, a little bit of that towards the end. But
it's like YouTube. There's no general topic. It's just whatever's fun at the moment.
Exactly. So that's what we're going to be doing. And we want this to be live at some point. We really would like for us to be on camera, live, doing the podcast, and having a chat room that you guys can join in. I recently got upgraded on YouTube. Once you hit 1,000 subscribers, and I feel like there was another criteria. I don't remember what it was. But once you hit 1,000 subscribers, they give you the ability to live stream. So I have that ability. Don't have things set up to do that yet. But that is a thing that will happen at some point in time. For a while, we may not have cameras. We may just do a live audio session that you guys can join up with and just kind of hang out in the chat room and listen to us ramble on about random stuff. But if I don't know, we get the opportunity, we find the right stuff for the right price, then we could get some cameras and do some actual us on camera. And you'd see our faces, and it would be very weird.
Hide the children.
This beard is known to scare some folks.
Yes. We're what you call radio types.
We have faces made for radio.
Yes.
Speaking of beards, though, I have noticed that people will give me weird looks because of my beard.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, it's a thing, I guess. I feel like in Austin, being like keep Austin weird, that whole thing, that I wouldn't get as many as I do, but I do, and I get a lot of people who do double takes. They'll come around a corner like in the grocery store, and they're just like, what? Like do this double take, just like, oh God, don't kill me, and I'm like, I'm just this chubby dude who's like getting groceries. Why would I kill you? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's because even with the keep Austin weird aspect, it's all still, everything's trim and clean. Maybe it's because we're too far north.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe,
yeah.
Being downtown wouldn't have that response as much.
Maybe so. Yeah, that's true. You know what? I guess that does make sense, because most of the times that does happen, I am north of the action, basically.
Now, does that happen when you go back and seeing your parents and all that kind of stuff? I mean,
well, I feel like Nashville is enough of the South that there's enough beards around anyway that people are just kind of like, it's a beard.
They don't even care.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my dad had a gigantic beard for a long time. Like, he had a beard that's probably like mid-chest, probably top of the stomach area. Yeah.
Wow.
He had a big old beard for a while there. Yeah, it was good. It was good stuff. You're awesome, Dad.
I'm just imagining like a ZZ Top. He's
Right.
some ZZ Top cover band right now.
Yeah. And Father's Day's coming up. I will be in Nashville for that, actually. That'd be pretty awesome. Yeah, I'm going on vacation, guys. Yay, vacation.
Boo, I'm going to be all alone at work.
I'm sorry.
I'll survive.
That was not my intention. What did you do when I wasn't there before? Well, I guess you had other people in the room.
Yeah. No, I mean, there was only 3 days where no one was in there. I'll just work and be quiet. Listen to other people do podcasts.
The morning stream.
Yes.
That's awesome. So, games we played recently. That's a topic we're supposed to be talking about.
It is. It is.
We've only been talking for 6 minutes. That's not too bad.
No.
First podcast. We're timing ourselves. We want to know exactly what we're doing.
We'll probably go way too fast. So,
probably so.
If we're talking too fast for you, slow it down in the player.
That would be awesome if that was like a YouTube feature. You could slow down the podcast stuff. That would be great.
But games played recently. For me, I tend to be behind the curve. I play a lot of World of Warcraft, so
that's true.
When it comes to
you're so old school.
Oh yes, old school. More of I'm that old man that doesn't want to change. No, I tend to play most of my games on the PC, so
that's true.
They generally come out later, and I don't like to pay full price, so then there's the waiting game there. So.
Yeah, that's true. I play the game as far as when it comes to getting games below the standard price. So I have with my Best Buy Reward Zone stuff. There was a while where they were doing every game that you pre-ordered, you got $40 in Reward Zone points.
Oh, interesting.
And so it was I go buy a game, then I get more money, and then I go buy another game and get more money. And so I just kept cashing it in. I was paying $20 for all these games coming out.
That's nice.
Yeah. And then with the we also do this thing called Shopkick. It's on our phone. And they may have a version for your tablet, maybe. I don't know, but it's this thing. Basically, you walk into stores and you get points for walking into the stores, and then you can cash the points in for different cards, for gift cards. They do Best Buy, Target, Starbucks, Old Navy, a bunch of random places that you can actually get money for.
So it's Foursquare kind of. Are you checking in, or is it
kind of? Yeah. It's they have these. Basically, you walk into the store, you open the app, and it's hey, you got points, and there's things they have what they call scan missions, and so you go through the store and you just scan a bunch of random products that they have listed.
Gotcha.
And you get points for them. Sometimes you get bonus points if there's some sort of promotion they're wanting to push or whatever for some product, but we get depending on the store, Best Buy, a lot of times will have a lot of points. They'll do 200 or so points per scan mission. All the scans together are 200 something points.
Mm-hmm.
And so for I feel for the first $2, you can get the cards, the gift cards back in $2 increments. And so I feel it's 800 points for $2. And so it doesn't pay off immediately, but after you've been doing it for a while and you start saving up the points, it's free money that you have. And so I think I had at least $40 one time. I used that for Assassin's Creed, and I also had some rewards on points. So I paid $15 for Assassin's Creed when it was $60 still.
Nice.
Yeah.
So basically, as long as you remember to open the app, you'll eventually get something out of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, that's pretty nice.
Yeah, it's pretty handy. And we're not sponsored by these people, by the way.
No, but what was it called again?
It was Shopkick. Shopkick, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. But back to games we played recently.
Yes, games we played.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna talk about Tomb Raider briefly and say I enjoyed it, but it got kind of repetitive.
Yeah.
I felt like I was doing the same thing over and over, and I realized that happens in a lot of games.
Yeah, it does.
But this one, it was almost like the kind of game where they made it pretty so that you'd forget that you were doing the same thing over and over.
All right, I hate that tactic.
But it didn't work because I'm too interested in what the story is doing.
Right.
It was a nice sort of reboot to the franchise. I'm not gonna bash it for that for
Gotcha.
sure.
Is it worth a play? Would you recommend me playing it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd recommend playing it.
Cool.
You know, I would probably not pay full price. Obviously, I wouldn't.
Right.
But yeah, certainly worth playing. It is a fun game. It's just, you know, it didn't keep my attention anyway enough where I felt like I had to sit down and play it for like 3 hours straight or something.
Gotcha.
I could easily put it down, and just like with books and movies, if I can have my attention swayed from it, it's not super high on the scale.
Gotcha. Yeah. And you know, I've had problems like that with games too. With Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance, I got to the very last boss. I still haven't beat the last boss yet. I have let the game sit. I got to the last boss, and then didn't realize that the boss is like 6 stages. It's kind of like beat him, and then like, oh, you thought you beat me, now I'm back and more powerful. I'm like, oh, okay, one more time. Oh, you think you beat me? I'm back and even more powerful. Oh, okay, I'll beat you again. And then it's like, oh yeah, now you destroyed my big robot. Now I'm going to start punching you in the face.
Like there is no end.
Right. Yeah, so I'm on what I think is the very, very last boss fight. Mm-hmm. And I have like, out of like, let's say a 6-inch health bar, I have probably a centimeter.
so he just looks at you funny and you die.
Oh, yes, exactly. And so I've played that final boss fight probably a couple hundred times, and then just got so frustrated. I was like, well, screw this. I'm not going to play this game for a while. So, yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of the final boss issue.
Oh, yeah?
I'm pretty sure I'm on the last boss in Hotline Miami.
Right.
And I guess... I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on. I heard something about this patch that I guess it used to be super easy to just walk in and sort of finish that.
Right.
But I don't know. How long has that been out? I don't want to spoil anything.
Yeah.
Needless to say, based on the fact that I'm saying I haven't finished it,
right.
I've run into some problems. Kind of getting sniped from a distance and not being able to figure out how to get away from it. So,
that can be a problem.
Yeah, it's definitely a problem.
Yeah.
It becomes an issue of I don't have a chance to do something before it happens. And I'm like, this is so frustrating. Quit. Right. It's my rage quit time. But all the rest of the levels, I mean... It's your similar gameplay. It certainly adds a bit in there, and I like the idea of the masks giving you different power-ups.
Yeah, that's so cool.
I will say I use the same one like all the time.
Oh, right.
I was at Don Juan. Is he the horse?
Right. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, something like that. But you know, the one where you're just slamming doors into people and it kills them. I'm like, okay, so I'm just gonna work on slamming doors into people. I never got really good firing the gun, so you're
the world's best assassin. All you do is open doors and people drop dead.
I hit people with doors and then go grab a crowbar or something. Yeah,
I loved grabbing guns. I would just pick up guns and start throwing them at people and just knocking them out and stuff.
Yeah. That's basically what I had to do because firing the weapons wasn't working.
Yeah.
I would drop a gun for like the lead pipe thing that you find or a baseball bat.
Yeah.
I just love coming around a corner, getting their attention, and they come around and you just whack them in the face.
Yes.
So yeah.
And it's like blood explosion when that happens too.
Yeah.
It just kind of splatters everywhere.
And then that first time you realize that not everyone can be hit by a door. It'll throw you off.
You're like, I slammed this door into your face and nothing happened.
Yeah. Turns out they just walk on by and punch you in the face.
Thanks for opening the door for me.
Yeah, but you know, I enjoyed that one too. It's different,
right?
You know, I went in sort of expecting something kind of like a GTA type, you know, where it's not super linear,
right?
You know, you have to clear the stage, but it doesn't care sort of where you're going.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's true.
You get to decide how you kill everyone, basically.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but that was fun.
Right.
And I played that on PC. I had the 360 controller hooked up, so.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that sounds pretty cool.
It was definitely better with that than
mouse and keyboard.
I would have probably done with the mouse and keyboard. But
gotcha.
Like we've talked about, I don't do a lot of first-person shooter types, so.
Right.
That's why I think I stayed away from the guns.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I hadn't played a game using the controller in such a long time that I actually, well, at least for a first-person shooter, I had trouble remembering how to make my thumbs do the two joysticks.
Right.
I'm like, oh wait, I have to turn to fire.
Yeah.
I died way too many times because of
gotcha.
the right stick.
Yeah, my wife, it's funny when I'll try to get her into like doing a twin stick shooter, just like on the arcade for the 360 stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And twin stick shooters obviously take two sticks. One
Right.
is movement, one is like turning around to like fire and stuff,
Yes.
And she can get that to a very, very small degree. But then you put her in a first-person game, and she does not know what in the heck is going on at all. I love her to death.
Too much happening.
Yes. There was one time, I don't if you guys were a part of that session, say something in the comments, but she actually played some multiplayer, like randomly on a whim. I was like, hey, you want to play some multiplayer with me? And she was like, okay. And so we got in there. It was a pretty good room full of subscribers, and they were all cheering her on.
Nice.
And some of them would stand in front of her so that she could shoot them.
Don't tell anyone.
Yeah. But I would recommend Hotline Miami personally. I thought it's a really good game. I personally enjoy it.
Oh, yeah. I had fun going through the levels. I hit the last boss,
Right.
but very similar.
Right.
So, I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
And I could definitely see it as a stress reliever, just going in and playing a couple
Right.
levels.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and it's so fast that you can just play a couple levels and be done.
Right. And,
Yeah.
you'll see their tips that it specifically states, don't worry about dying.
All
It's
right.
like, because, you're getting points for how bold you're doing. And,
Yeah. Yeah, the
sort of how
more
quick you
ridiculous you are, the better you
Yeah.
better you do score-wise.
So, yeah, I definitely had a bunch of levels where I just bowled on through to see what was coming.
Right.
And then sometimes you can walk around the outside and sort of scout it out.
Yeah, totally.
It never helped.
Yeah.
I didn't plan that far ahead.
Right.
It was like, if someone was standing in front of a door, that was for step one.
Right,
Hit
yeah.
them with the door and then figure something else out. So, yeah, that one's definitely fun.
Yeah. I recently finished Dishonored, and I thought about grabbing the gameplay for that, and actually putting up and making like a Let's Play out of that, but I did not. And it was interesting. Okay, so when a game offers a moral choice, thinking about the morning stream stuff or whatever,
Right.
moral choices for me. Some people, will go evil all the way 100% of the time.
That's me. Well, no, I can't say 100% of the time.
Oh, right.
But I tend to live out the things I would never ever do.
Right.
So yeah. So if I'm playing GTA,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Right.
I'm a badass.
Right.
But anyone who knows me,
Prostitute.
I'm not a badass.
Fun times, then get my money back.
Yeah, Vice City, you don't want to know how many people were run over.
Speaking of Vice City, I think what was the GTA 4? I get so into games that I will go into like game mode in real life. Like it'll carry into the real world in some way to a degree. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna go grab a gun and then start shooting people. No, it's not like that. It's like I'll be sitting at a stoplight and there's nobody anywhere. And I'm like, what the F am I stopping at a stoplight for? I'm just going to go through this. And I'm like, oh, wait, this is not GTA. The cops I cannot get away from. Just like
Yeah.
go outside their radar area or whatever.
Yeah, just go repaint your car. We're good.
Right.
Yeah, that is something funny about that. It's like, well, I guess the plates did change in the game, though, didn't they?
Did they?
They swapped the plates out, too? Of course,
I
you
don't
wouldn't
remember.
get away with that here anyway.
Yeah, half the time, I would just go hijack another car. I would just be like, I don't care about this one, crash, and go grab another one.
You ever just dive out?
Yeah.
Just go rolling. Yeah.
I love that.
That's definitely true. So Dishonored's got a lot of that?
Well, it's got so the moral choices with that, though. So my problem with the moral choices is that I want to be good, but when I see the opportunity to do something really awesome that's bad, I'll take that.
Okay.
And if the game has the option, basically, for my type of person, my personality type when I'm playing, I'll get like a neutral ending of some sort most of the time. But when it's like there's a good ending and a bad ending, I always get the bad ending.
Because you've slightly outweighed the good with the bad.
Yeah, I'm like, oh man, but I could like kill this dude and then sneak up behind this guy and stab him in the face, and then I could like steal this stuff and then get away and yeah. And so that bit me in the butt with Dishonored, just because I got to the end and it was like the dark ending and everybody's like, oh no. Oh well, I don't want to spoil it for anybody who hasn't played, but yeah. Be good unless you want to get the bad ending. And the to get the good ending, it actually takes a whole lot more effort, because to get the good ending, so they have this level of chaos that you're creating, and every person you kill adds to the level of chaos. So you either have to do non-lethal attacks or just avoid attacks at all, and that really makes it difficult. So
that doesn't sound like fun.
Well, I mean, it's
just go around hitting people with books or something.
Right. Yeah, but they do make it interesting. There's a couple of different powers that you can get. One is you can actually possess people.
Okay.
And so your physical body disappears. You turn into like this smoke and you inhabit someone else's body. And then I don't know if that kills them when you exit their body, but you can inhabit a rat as well. There are rats all over the place. It's kind of like a thing in the game is like there are these rats and there's like this disease that the rats are carrying around and kind of turns people into like this semi-weird zombie kind of thing.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's not a spoiler, by the way. That's like you learn that like the first second of the game, basically. So...
is there any stealth to this game? I'll be honest, I don't know a whole lot about it outside of, I've heard a lot of good things.
Right. Yeah, it is a mix between BioShock and Assassin's Creed.
Oh.
It's kind of like, it's all first person, and you have the one hand does power, one hand does weapon type thing.
Okay.
It's kind of like a BioShock deal.
BioShock, yes.
But you have like a whole lot of verticality. Your character can like jump incredibly high, and you can grab ledges and stuff, kind of like you would in an Assassin's Creed type game.
Right.
And so you can kind of climb around and do that sort of thing. And then there is like a stealth mechanic where like if you're hiding in the shadows, they don't see you. And then there's a certain level of light that causes people to see you, that sort of thing. And I get in those shadows, and people just stand in front of me, and I'm like, my blade is itching to stab you in the back, and then that gets me in trouble, and so I get the bad ending.
Right, of course. They just asking for it.
Exactly.
What do you do?
Yeah. And so that was my problem with that.
You couldn't just hug your way through the game. Is
Right.
that what you're saying?
Yeah. Come here, big guy. Yeah, that was the problem. And with doing like the non-lethal attacks, they take longer than the lethal attack. Lethal attack just like stab and you're done. Whereas the non-lethal attack, you like grab them and they're like, and then they're passed out, and then you like drag their body into the shadows.
Is there a chance of someone else walking around and catching you doing that?
Definitely, yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, there's lots of guards everywhere, and there are some civilian type people everywhere. I should say, when I say everywhere, they can be just anywhere. The world is kind of, because of the disease, you learn this very early on in the game, because of the disease, it's kind of post-apocalyptic a little bit. Like, large sections of this nation have been kind of quarantined.
Okay.
And so there will be random people just kind of strolling about, and if they see you do something bad, then they kind of freak out and they'll start like going and grabbing the guards, that sort of thing.
Okay. Right.
Yeah. So you can be like thinking you're totally stealthy, and you're like, I don't know, even stabbing somebody in the back can get you in trouble, but somebody just shows up all of a sudden and they're just like, oh, guards, and then you're just stuck.
Will they do that if they're not catching you doing it? If the body's just sitting there kind of thing?
Well, if they don't see you doing it and there's a body just sitting there, they just kind of go like, why is their body here? They're intelligent enough. It's not like the game is all knowing. You know, I hate it when you get into a stealth game and they're just like, oh no, there's a body. It's you. You're the player.
Right.
Yeah, like the game knows that there's nobody else who could have done it except for you.
You're the different piece of code in here.
Right. Exactly. And so they're pretty, the game is smart enough to say like, oh, I just see a random body and there's somebody standing near it, but doesn't necessarily mean that they did it. But if they see you dragging a body around, that's a different story altogether. But
kind of like real life.
Yeah. Dude, what are you doing? Oh, gods.
The question is, do they go get the guards?
Right. Yeah, that would... it would take a special situation in the United States where there'd be like random police officers all over the place.
Would you say you were disappointed with the bad ending?
Well, there was part of it that was kind of okay, but they really wanted you to feel bad about the things that you had done. So they kind of rubbed it in your face at the end, like, you killed people. Yeah. And so it wasn't necessarily, like, there was a few, like, quotes from different people throughout the game talking about death and killing people that they were, like, playing back at you, that sort of thing. And there's some other things. There's, like, one character who's reoccurring that kind of will be like, use the powers that you've been given wisely. Where are you going to take yourself? Type stuff. And so I didn't quite pick up on exactly what he was meaning by that at first. And then by the middle of it, I was like, oh crap, we're going to the dark ending now, aren't we?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, exactly.
I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah, exactly. But the magic kind of powers stuff of it all is kind of cool. Like, you can stop time. You can... once you upgrade the powers to a certain point, it kind of turns them into an even better version of the power, obviously. So, like, it starts off by slowing time for a short period of time. And so you can, like, go around, knock a few guys out, and people will still kind of detect you, but they won't, like, know, like, you're there. They'll kind of, like, be suspicious, like, I just saw something happen here, but it happened really, really fast, and I don't know what it was.
Of course.
Or you can actually stop time for a while once you upgrade the skill enough, and so you can do an entire room full of massacring, and then time comes back, and nobody even knew it happened.
And you're just sitting there whistling.
Yeah, exactly.
Wasn't me. I don't know what happened.
Yeah. And so that's kind of cool. You can upgrade your jump ability. So, like at the beginning, you jump pretty high, but then once you upgrade your jump ability, you can jump like insanely high. You go from jumping like 5 feet high to jumping like 15 feet high.
Wow.
Yeah. So you can do some pretty cool stuff. And there were a few times I felt accomplished, just because I was able to leap from one building, like rooftop, to another. With my new and improved jump powers, like, I think I can hit this ledge, and if I do, this is going to be awesome. And then, like, run, jump, and then kind of, like, pauses for a second, and then kind of, like, does a double jump for, the increased jump ability. And so it would just be, it felt really cool, just like, I'm an awesome assassin. I can just leap from buildings, and yeah.
Don't try this at home.
Exactly. Yeah. There is falling damage, obviously.
Oh, well...
Yeah.
You say obviously.
Obviously. That's true. There are many a game that don't have falling damage, which is very, very helpful. In the Call of Duty games, there are like perks that you can get that will avoid falling damage. So.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which is nice. Back in Modern Warfare 2, there's this perk called Commando, and it gave you extra lunge with your knife, and then also let you jump out of buildings, basically, from any height, and you would not take any damage. And so, Commando, though, it was so overpowered, it was ridiculous. You could be like 12 feet away from somebody, and then just panic knife, like just randomly, like, oh god, I see somebody, and hit the knife button, and you just be like across the map, knife somebody. It was awful.
Oh, Instead of just throwing the knife, you go with it.
Exactly.
It's like that guy with the bowling ball.
I was going to say the
go.
exact same thing.
Yeah.
It seems like a goofy movie type thing,
Yeah.
like the goofy Disney character.
Well, if you go with the ball, you're guaranteed a strike.
Right.
If you don't stab him, you're at least knocking him over, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that was pretty funny. There was a YouTube video I saw once where people were... It was like a YouTube poop video. Have you ever watched those YouTube poop videos where it's just kind of like a bunch of random crap all strung together? Have you ever seen any of that stuff?
Oh, yeah, I think I have.
Yeah. Well, there was one that was like a Call of Duty YouTube poop, and somebody made one where it was a guy in a building across the map, and this one dude across the map who was like shooting at him or whatever, and he goes, "Commando!" and like flies out the window across the map and stabs the dude. And it was awesome. I laughed till I cried.
Oh, it would be fun to be that guy.
I know, right?
Yeah. Oh, wow. I don't have any stories like that. I mean, like, I go back to like Battlefield 2 and just think about how I was hiding up in the balcony of a hotel and sniping people.
Yeah.
But no, nothing as awesome as flying at someone with a knife.
Yeah, man. I mean, the Call of Duty games are pretty, like, I feel like over time it's gotten better, but I feel like if it was any other developer, they would have fixed it with the patch immediately. But Call of Duty, especially with Modern Warfare 2, it was just kind of like, meh. It's a game now.
Feature, not a bug.
Right, yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then it got to a point where people started like hacking. So with the Call of Duty games, you can prestige. And until recently, prestiging did nothing except change the little emblem next to your name, which was really stupid.
So what is it? Is this prestiging something you buy?
Yes. So your player levels, and as you level, you unlock weapons and stuff.
Okay.
And then once you get to the end, there's this feature called prestiging where you just go, I want to do it all over again. And it undoes all the challenges you did, relocks all the weapons, and you start all over from scratch.
So there's just a little symbol that says,
yeah, hey,
I can't get enough of this.
All right, yeah, exactly. Yeah, they should change it to a crack rock. This stuff is addicting.
Yeah, I may be addicted.
Yes.
Seek help.
Right. Yeah, but in all the games you could prestige 10 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and once you were 10th prestige, you got like the emblem, and everybody's like, oh, he's 10th prestige, he's like a hardened badass right now. And it was like a big deal. Well, in Modern Warfare 2 they had this bug where you could somehow like mess with your save file, and you would magically, you're 10th prestige now. And at the very beginning, they were like banning or like resetting people's levels and stuff because of it. Mm-hmm. But eventually, it just kind of got to this point where they're just like, well, it's a thing now. Oh, well.
Everyone will have it.
Yeah.
Whatever.
And then there was like this weird like lobby bug where if someone had it, the bug set right, they could create a lobby, you'd get in there, and you'd get like 1 trillion experience for shooting somebody in the head. And so this was like this weird economy thing on the Xbox where people would message you and say, I have a 10th prestige lobby about to go live for 1,600 Microsoft points. You can join. 1,600 Microsoft points is $20. And so they would like try to sell you 10th prestige. Like this was something that you really needed to have. And it's mostly like 12-year-olds like, message to all recent players. I have a 10th prestige lobby that's about to happen, and if you want to join, I have a slot ready for you. Only 1,600 Microsoft points. And I'm like, right.
I feel like the voice she just did requires the pushing of the glasses up the nose.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah, that's what I felt for sure. Like, I felt like that stuff was just, I don't know. It took the game to a new level of low.
A new level of low. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, when it's sort of an economy based on hacking all of a sudden.
Right.
It is a little weird.
Yeah, it was very strange. And then some people would invite you to a game under the guise of they, like, just playing, like, some sort of custom game where they would, like, be juggernauts or something. They'd put the health up really high, or they'd have some sort of guise to get you in, but they'd actually have the opposite bug in effect, so that it would de-level you, and so you would lose all of your guns and progress you've made. And so they'd have like these deranking lobbies, and they'd be like, "Oh, avoid this guy. He's gonna do you a deranking lobby on you." So I just never did any of the private match crap.
Yeah, well, what's the phrase? If you play with fire, you're gonna get burned.
That's true. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So let's see, what else we got here? Oh, BioShock Infinite.
Yes.
I don't know what to say about it outside of I really loved it. Because I think saying pretty much anything would be a spoiler.
Yeah, I want to play. I haven't played it at all.
Yeah, and like I told you, I hadn't played the previous BioShock games.
Right.
So, I had seen them played when I'd go to my in-laws.
Right. Yeah, was it your father-in-law or something was playing?
Yeah, he played those games and he started playing Infinite, and we were up there visiting, and I got to play it a little bit. So then, of course, I had to start playing it when I got home.
You're like, darling, I'm gonna have to spend some money.
Yeah, I burned through that one.
Nice. How long did it take you from start to finish?
Gosh, I don't know. Oh, I think it might have been a day and a half.
Oh, snap!
Well,
wow.
not consecutive, like a day and a half hours wise.
Oh, gotcha.
So
Playtime. Okay.
I'm thinking it may have been.
I thought you meant like you spent a weekend glued to a TV.
No, I did.
Of some sort, right?
I didn't finish it that weekend, but I was playing it for pretty much my entire
Nice.
free moments for
Right.
that weekend. But it was lots of fun. I think I'm gonna have to go back and play the others.
Right.
Just to sort of see it all. If anyone's played it, they'll kind of know what I mean.
Right.
when I saw some of what had previously happened.
Right.
It's just a little glimpse, but I'm like, yeah, I think I need to go back and play it. It'll help, fill in story stuff.
Interesting.
You go into it thinking these can't be related, but then there's something is connecting it.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's just.
Huh. I started BioShock 2.
Okay.
And never finished it. It was one of those kind of like, meh, this is okay, but I kind of wasted my money now. But at the time when I purchased it, it was probably like $20 anyway, so it wasn't a big deal.
Right.
I didn't feel incredibly bad about my decision.
Right.
But
call that an experiment.
Right, yeah, exactly. I was like, well, the first one was really good. I didn't hear anything exceptionally awesome about the second one, but I was like, I would like to have that experience again. If it was even more of the same, I'd be happy.
Right.
Well, more of the same is, I guess, just barely cut it for me.
Yeah, I hear people saying that a lot about Assassin's Creed because I guess they have two different teams working, so there's always an Assassin's Creed coming out.
I know.
And
the first one had been out for like a few months, and then it was like, hey, the fourth one's coming now. And I'm like, what? Really?
I really... See, people didn't like Assassin's Creed 3. A lot of negative reviews about that, and
right?
I enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun playing that.
I have started it, have not finished it. Yeah. I am like... I can't remember... it like gives you updates like percentage through the story you are or whatever.
Right.
I can't remember... I want to say I was under 20%.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I have just recently... found out that, or I've just recently started playing the, oh, darn it, that was loud. The Native American, the Native American guy, what's his name?
Oh, of course I'm gonna blank now.
Right.
But yeah, basically the main character.
Yeah, the main character.
Yeah.
Yeah, because at first I was like, I thought I was supposed to be Native American. This is kind of weird. And then...
That was a lot of people's complaint, was
right?
playing that beginning part.
Yeah.
And I guess it's probably been out long enough that there won't be spoilers, but I'm not going to say anything anyway.
Yeah.
But that beginning part, I don't know. It helped sort of kick the story off for me, and I guess other people would have said the same thing, even the ones that didn't like it. Their complaint was more of it. It felt like they were playing that beginning portion too long. Well,
and I could see that, and I would say I played it too long, but it was my own darn fault. My own dang fault. Because there was a segment there where it's like there's this battle, you're like racing to the wall or something like that, and you have to get off the horses eventually, and then there's like these waves and waves of enemies that are coming at you. I probably played that for 45 minutes straight, and like, good God, this is the longest fight ever, and then realized they just keep coming.
Yeah.
It was kind of like race to the end, and I'm like, screw that, I'm a completionist. I'm gonna kill all these dudes.
Yeah. So the killing all these dudes thing doesn't work when there's an endless supply of dudes.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Keep that in mind, everyone.
Right.
You could very well be playing a game that has an infinite spawner.
Right.
Better to look around.
I know. Right? Yeah. And so I was like, okay, this will be awesome. And then one point I pushed up to a certain area, and then it was like one of the scripted moments. It was kind of like you crossed past a certain pixel, like you walked across some sort of barrier, and then it's like, oh, next sequence starts, and I'm like, oh, I was supposed to be here a long time ago.
So you must have really been having fun killing.
I know. I was like, oh, I can get these. Like, I was getting the combos, just like bayonet through you and stab you in the face, and then like gunshot in your chest, and then turn around and kick you in the face. And I was really into it, and I was just like, good grief, why is this not ending? And then realized I'm just an idiot.
Well, there's that.
So, new consoles. Let's talk about that.
Yes.
I know you're not a console guy.
Not really.
I mean, you do have a PS3.
I do. And
you play it every once in a while.
Yeah.
Did you play Tomb Raider on that, by the way?
No, I played that on PC.
Oh, nice. Okay.
I've been trying to get through some of my games I've had for like ever on the PlayStation. I just find because I sit at the computer more often,
right?
I have a hard time remembering that I should go out to the television and actually play the games.
Yeah.
So it'll be like 11:30. I'm thinking about going to bed. I'll walk past it and be like, "Oh, I was gonna play that today."
Right.
Dang it.
Yeah.
Oh well.
Whoops.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I know that for me, as far as the PS3 goes, I want to play Metal Gear Solid 4 so bad, but I have never played it, and I have thought about buying a PS3 just for that.
Okay.
But I don't know if it's worth it or not. So.
Well, I mean, they're gonna get cheaper soon.
That's true. Trade-in value will. Yeah, that's true.
I don't know if it's worth getting an entire console.
Yeah. Are there PS3 emulators out there? Is that a thing?
Probably. I could let you borrow mine.
Well,
I mean, if it's just for a game, it's not gonna be a big deal.
Right. I guess that's true. I feel bad doing that though.
That's an interesting point, though. I mean, it makes sense that the different companies have their own
like exclusive titles and stuff. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
But it's frustrating.
I know, right?
Because
Can't we all just get along?
Yeah, the reason I had an Xbox 360 for the longest time was, and I couldn't even tell you what the game was anymore, but it was like, oh, it was only there.
Oh, gotcha.
And that was like the reason I bought it.
Gears of War.
It's no, that wasn't it. But
Halo.
But you go back to like the reason I got a Nintendo Wii was because some game was only showing up there. One of the Nintendo things.
Mad World or something.
Anything,
Yeah, it's
and
true.
It's like, well, but then I'm not playing it anymore. So then it just sits there. So then I don't really have to take stock of that.
I know.
So what'll generally happen is I'll just go play those games when I go visit my in-laws.
Oh, gotcha.
He's got every system.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. He's kind of crazy. I think he.
You mean that in the best possible way?
Oh yes, of course. I think he plays most of his console games on the 360.
Right.
And he's the type that'll get games cheap too. He's he's tracking them online. Like,
nice.
He's waiting until like they hit that below $30 mark, and he'll be like, I think I'll get it this time. I guess he just keeps them in his Amazon cart or something, so he never forgets them.
Right.
And then he just comes in and sees if they're cheaper yet or whatever.
Yeah, I do that with my wish list on Amazon. I have a vinyl wish list that has a lot of things on it.
No, of course you do. I'm sure you'll always have a huge vinyl wish list.
Yeah, it's true.
But yeah, I mean, in terms of new consoles,
right?
It's good. Without going into the details right off the bat about them, I mean, the details we don't specifically have yet.
Right.
We can blame them for, not mentioning things when it would definitely help their cause.
Yeah, exactly.
But, you're going to run into the same issue with these.
Yeah.
Where there's a game you want to play. Like, the reason we swapped over to PS3 was my wife wanted to play more games. So then we're like, we had played Little Big Planet at her parents' house.
Oh, right.
And she got really addicted to that. So then we're like, let's trade in the 360. We're not doing any games that are only on Xbox.
Oh,
so
right.
We'll just get a PS3 and everything will be cool.
Right.
And that's sort of where we've landed. Still working on Little Big Planet 2.
Yeah.
slow going there when neither of us think about playing the games. But
yeah,
it's always an interesting thing. It sounds like Xbox might be trying to increase the number of exclusive titles.
Yeah, that
the
might
way
be.
they made it sound, with their, what was it, like a game a month almost, or a little more than?
Yeah, something like that.
After launch or something like that. I mean, that's
and I don't know how that's
going
to work out. Yeah, that's going
to. It's got to make you nervous looking into that, saying, well, yes, they're promising a lot of games.
Right.
But are they going to be any good?
Right, yeah.
They seem rushed.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I can make... Guys, I can give you 12 games that are really mediocre, or like 3 that are awesome.
Right. Yeah. And that's just tough.
Yeah.
I'm not an early adopter of consoles to begin with, so generally speaking, the launch titles don't matter to me. But it's a pretty good indication of how well the console's going to do early on.
That's true.
In terms of launch titles.
Yeah, that is very true. And I know that as far as, the console's hardware goes, it's very, very similar.
Right.
Though the PS4 has an extra chip just for video encoding. Have you heard about that?
I want to say you mentioned it, but I don't think we talked in detail about it.
They've added the share button to the PS4 controller. Have you seen that? It's this little button basically that's right there next to the little touchscreen in the middle or whatever.
So you can... You're going to be able to share videos that when you're playing?
Yes.
Wow.
And so you hit the share button, it opens up this little interface. You say, I want the last 30 seconds of gameplay.
Oh, so you're picking it after you've played?
Mm-hmm.
So it's actively recording.
Actively recording while you're playing.
Did they say how much time is...
I want to
it's
say
not going to keep it forever, right?
Right, yeah. I want to say it's your entire session.
Oh,
but
wow.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Right.
That's what I want to say. But you at least can go back at least a few minutes.
They might not even be sure.
Oh, right, that's true. They could not be sure.
We'll find out very soon, I suppose.
Yeah, it's true. And then you hit the share button, grab the gameplay, and then say, I want to keep it. And then it's pumping out of the video with a separate processor to their server and is uploading it and doing all of the encoding, decoding, whatever it needs to do, and uploading to their like cloud service of I don't know, whatever they got, their new social media service of whatever they're integrating with the PS4.
Right.
And so
you'd like to hope that the videos are going to go to YouTube, right?
Right.
I mean, you just get the feeling that everything goes to Facebook.
I know, right?
And
if stuff gets trapped in their own social network and is not able to be exported to YouTube, I'm going to be a little sad.
Yeah. I mean, because what's the point?
Right.
I'm not really sharing it at that point.
Right.
I mean, not everybody I know is going to be on there.
Yeah.
But everybody can go to YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and it's not something you have to sign up for to watch a video.
Right. Yeah,
So.
and if they're limiting it to only PS4 owners, and they have this, they kept saying in their like release or their reveal, not release, in their reveal like. They were wording it like real friends, real friends, real friends, real friends. They kept saying that, and so it's like they're wanting you to like get all of your friends to buy a PS4, and then you can all join the social network and then share clips between each other. And I'm like, that's really not gonna. That's not real world.
No, that's not really a motivation either.
Yeah.
I mean, your real friends are maybe playing the same games,
right?
And let's say you're playing multiplayer. I don't know. Is it really worth the extra time to click the button when you have to do all that work? It kind of reminds me of that Apple Ping or whatever it was. Like, it's never a good idea to do something like that.
We're going to enter the social media market. We're going to make our own service,
but only for something extremely specific.
Yeah. That was the sound of the popularity and the user share.
It's like, why are we on here again? Yeah. So I agree. Hopefully you can choose where you want it to go.
Yeah.
I'd like to hope you can go to YouTube.
Right. And that would make it incredibly easy. And if I could do my video editing on the console, I could do my commentary. Let's say I could plug in this mic. To the console somehow. Do my video editing, commentary, and publish to YouTube straight from my console. My day would be made.
It would be, yeah. You wouldn't have to swap anything out anywhere. Wouldn't have to.
Yeah, and I hope that as far as like if Call of Duty still is a thing and it still keeps. I don't know, somehow keeps people interested. Because right now, truthfully, I'm getting a little burned out on the Call of Duty thing just a bit because. It's a lot of the same over and over again.
Right.
And, sure, we're changing guns up and we're changing some mechanics here and there.
Yeah.
But it is, like, a lot of the same. And I feel like it is, they try to make it so noob-friendly that it winds up being a very casual first-person shooter. Versus where I like the hardcore Twitch stuff where it's like, I'm getting in there, it is my skill, my mouse skill, my aim skill, whatever it is, whether it's a computer or console. It's my aim skill versus yours. We're getting in there, and the better man wins. And it's not you died 4 times in a row, so you get a death streak, which then gives you double damage or whatever. And then once you get on the kick with the double you get your first kill with the double damage, then you're on some sort of like motivational streak. Like you're like, yeah, I'm doing awesome. Now and then you actually start doing better. Like. And then you get a kill streak and you throw a helicopter in the sky, and then it gives you a trillion kills and your team wins because you had the better air support rather than it's my aim skill with my guns versus your smarts with your guns and everything, and the better man wins.
Yeah, but that's just a money thing, right? I mean,
well, it is. You're right.
They want to sell copies, so
yeah.
I mean, it's gonna be tough. I don't know. I think generally, I mean, you look at something like WoW, it's good for a casual player.
Right.
There's a lot of stuff you can do by yourself even. And then there's a lot of stuff you can do with groups. I know your hardcore raider types don't love it like they did in vanilla when everything was incredibly difficult.
Right.
But, you have to allow for the possibility of other people joining in.
It's true.
And, you can't have just this elite group. I know you're not asking for that.
Right.
But, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean,
a little skill gap, like somehow manage this skill gap. Keep the guys who want to be casual, and the guys who want to be hardcore.
Right. Like maybe you choose that.
Yeah. And I guess in Black Ops 2, they did add the league play, which is everything's unlocked. You create your best class, and there are things that you cannot have. They actually limit the options that you can have. So things that are like noob-friendly stuff, basically, they don't let you have. And certain kill streaks you can't have. So a lot of them, that you can have are either like single kill type kill streaks where you like have a missile that you're raining down, and you're usually going to get one person with, maybe two, that sort of thing, where it's kind of, it is a little bit of a bonus, but it's not like, I've got a helicopter in the sky that takes 3 rockets to shoot down. Oh no, does anybody have a rocket class? No, I don't have one. Oh crap, well I guess we're just going to be hiding in buildings for the next minute and a half while this thing does its thing.
Hooray!
Yeah, exactly. But, so with the new Xbox though, the Xbox One, which is, I don't like that name.
The Xbox One ring to rule them all.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I know a lot of you guys out there have been listening to my stuff, and it's freaking me out, for one. Like, why do I always have to be watched? And then...
Yeah, it's creepy.
I know.
I mean, just without even thinking about the other half of it, you know?
Right.
It's just creepy.
Yeah.
Like, I do not ever leave my webcam plugged in on my computer.
Right.
Because it's creepy.
Yeah.
So, like, the idea that I can't unplug that to do something.
Right. Freaks you out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's really strange. It is really strange. And so that for one really makes me go, I don't want this, guys. I really don't want this. And then on top of that, so they've confirmed the way that the games work.
Right.
And so I buy a game. I want to play a game at your house on your console. I take game with me. So if I sign in on my account, it's free. But if I don't sign in on my Xbox account, you have to pay to play the game on your console. Mm-hmm. And they say, it will be a fee, but let's call it full price. Like, that's like one of the quotes. So you have to pay, let's say, $60 for a new game to play it on your machine. Then, if I wanted to, and this is really, really stupid, if I wanted to trade that with somebody, I could not anymore, as far as I understand. Because once you trade it once, the game is sold for always and forever.
Right, yeah, I read that too.
Yeah. So the discs become a little more than the initial version of the game to put onto your hard drive. The game's or your console's hard drive. Mm-hmm. And so it becomes like this weird... I don't know, it's like a digital download thing. It becomes like Steam, but, well, the early days of Steam.
The evil version.
Yeah, yeah. And so, and I feel like Steam has their act together. Like, they understand the way gamers want to play the stuff. And we understood what we were getting into from the get-go. Uh-huh. Whereas with consoles, it's always been pretty open.
Yeah. And
that's a problem that they're trying to force the next generation console as being the one account to rule them all type thing.
Right.
What's on your account is on your account, and after that, it's game over. Like, you can't do anything.
But this, I mean, the game thing is a little extreme.
Right.
But you can kind of telegraph this. It's been coming for a while. I mean, it used to be you could repurchase a multiplayer game and you can play online, didn't have to worry about it because it was tied to the game, not a person.
Right.
And then they entered this area where you were logging in for everything.
Right.
And not just putting in some game ID as you went in.
Right.
And now all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, here, you can buy this game used, but if you want to play multiplayer, please pay us $15 or whatever.
Oh, yeah, I hated that
and
crap.
then you can have this code that unlocks it.
Yeah.
Like, well, I'm just really happy I didn't want to play multiplayer on this game.
Right. And if you wanted to get a used version of the game, though, you have to be an approved reseller.
Right.
So that means GameStop. And
right,
that's basically
it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, in the U.S. anyway.
Right, yeah. For you guys that are outside of the U.S., I'm sure it'll be somebody who's... What is it?
I think there's a UK place called Games or something.
Yeah, I think that's right. Games might be right. Is Babbage's still a thing? I know that was like EB Games that then became GameStop. I don't know if that's a thing.
I don't know either.
I know.
I think they're all just GameStop now.
I know, yeah. the conglomerate that is GameStop.
But you know, we've got some local places here.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we got
the trade and play kind of stuff.
Yeah.
One of them's probably even called that, if I'm thinking properly.
Yeah, the play and trade. Yeah,
but
there's
like
a smaller chain.
There was 4 of them here, right?
Yeah, there was 1 or 2 in Tennessee, and I mean, and I liked them because they were a chain, but they were owned by someone local, and the money stayed in the local area. Right. It was kind of like I feel like with GameStop, it's kind of like you're always reporting to corporate, whereas with play and trade, it's like, we made money. Yes, we're doing good. Yeah. It's not...
High five.
Yeah, exactly. We're doing good in our local area.
Right.
And then, yeah, we have some other ones, though, that are like old school console type trade-in stuff, like PlayStation 2, 64, SNES, NES, Genesis, Atari type stuff.
Yeah.
Man, Atari. Did you ever have an Atari?
I didn't.
No.
I'm trying to think back if we had ever played one. I want to say my grandparents had one at the house, but I don't remember. Everything I remember is NES.
Gotcha, yeah.
My
cousins had an NES. I didn't have an NES. I had an Atari 2600. And I loved that thing. And it was funny because I feel like I remember my parents getting it. And it was kind of like under the guise of like, we have kids, this will be fun. But my dad was like, I get a console, yeah. And so my dad would stay up late hours of the night playing like, there's this game called Xevious, spelled with an X. And it was kind of like a, what do you call those, shmups? Where it's like a shoot 'em up, where you're like the ship and everything's like scrolling under you, like you're flying through.
Oh, okay, right.
You know, that sort of thing. But it was like there were like UFOs that were coming after you and stuff, and tanks that were shooting from the ground to the sky type thing. Like really low res, awesome. Like what is that, 8-bit graphics or whatever?
Of course, you said Atari 2600, so that has to be what
right,
it is,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. Yeah. There was this one other game. I can't remember what it was called, but it was also really retro, but it still had a fun, like ray-casted almost feel. They did a really good job with their art. I remember as a child thinking like, "Whoa, this is cool," because it like was drastically different than the other games that I had played. Whereas like Tank was like 2, maybe 3 colors in general, and like the little sounds were like as you were like moving your tank around.
But you notice that about a lot of older games.
Yeah,
they still hold up.
Yeah, it's true.
And it's really bizarre because you'll have something like Mario.
Right.
And you're like, why do I like this?
Yeah.
I mean, if you step back and look at it, I mean, the mechanics aren't super special. The story itself is
let's do the same thing
generic.
over and over again.
Right,
yeah.
Yeah, but for some reason, you can go sit down and play a level and just be happy.
Yeah.
And that's not happening nearly as much now as it was.
It's true.
Of course, I think that's because Mario is extremely linear, and we're in a world where things need to be more open.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, and that's what drew me into GTA. Like when I started playing Vice City, it was because I got to make all the decisions. If I didn't want to do a quest thing right now, I didn't have to. And if I wanted to go climb on top of that building and use the sniper rifle and pick people off, I could do that because it's my world.
Yeah. Speaking of, did you ever snipe somebody while they were in the car? I think I asked you this the other day.
I'm sure I did, but I didn't remember.
Yeah.
like any specifics.
Yeah. If you guys did out there, it was awesome, and you guys should attest to that in the comments. But it was so cool and ridiculous. Me and my friends had a huge laugh about this every time we did it, and we would do it hundreds of times in a row and still laugh as hard every time we did it. But if someone is sitting in the car, you whip out the sniper rifle, pick their head off, clean off. You know, like the sniper rifle takes their head completely off.
Right.
Their head goes bouncing around or whatever in the car, yeah, and it's like spraying through the roof of the car, like the spray animation or whatever. But they get out of the car like they're going to run, like the animation still plays, like they open the door, turn, step out of the car, and then slump to the ground as like a ragdoll body.
The chicken with its head cut off.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like the blood finally pumped out of the body enough that there's not anything left to do anything with. Yeah, or something. Yeah. And it was hilarious. We laughed for hours at that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we sort of went off on a tangent here.
We did.
So new console stuff. I mean, there's not a whole lot to really talk about right now. There's a lot of speculation. There's things they've said, but I mean, you look back to previous consoles. There are things they said that never happened, and some that, you know, they didn't say that did come through.
Right.
We're right here where they're going to be making some true announcements, and even those will probably change before they come out. So
that's true.
It's hard to really make any judgments, but it does seem like gamers don't matter anymore.
I agree. There's a lot of like corporate feeling to everything. Like they're just like, oh, we can do this. If we do it this way, we'll make more money.
Right.
Screw everybody. They're buying it because they want it.
Yeah. So what they're doing is saying, this is an entertainment system. Oh, and it plays games. And if you want to play games, you have to buy the game basically new, because if you're buying it used, you're paying the full price half the time anyway.
Yep.
So it's a weird dynamic where I think, at least in Microsoft's case, I don't think Sony came out and said anything to really anger people.
Right, yeah.
I think they were smart in kind of keeping the cards back a little.
Yeah, that's true.
Because now maybe they can tweak things if they were headed that direction.
Yeah.
And play the good guy role. But
that's true.
But, you know, Microsoft did this whole thing where gamers didn't matter. And, you know, we heard this when I was playing those podcasts at work.
Yeah.
You know, about this idea that, and I agree with those people who were saying it.
Right.
This idea that the gamers don't matter as much now. It's all about trying to sell you on this stuff. Like, you need to watch TV, and hey, you'll be able to get these shows in our store or whatever. And
yeah.
It's all about, I mean, it literally is all about money.
Yeah.
They want to be your entertainment center so they can charge you for everything.
Right.
And then you have that creepy aspect of them watching you. And you were discussing, just yesterday, I think, even, about how, you know, it can be paying attention to whether or not you're watching the TV.
Yeah. It actually, okay, and this is weird stuff. So the new Kinect can measure your pulse by looking at you.
Creepy.
Can measure what mood you're in by looking at you.
Does it weigh you?
What if you like just took your Kinect to like the local fair and it was like guess your weight, and you just like Kinect tell me
yes.
But and then it can measure where your attention's at. So not only are they getting what commercials or what TV shows are grabbing your attention, they can tell if you're happy or you're scared or you're in suspense about something that's happening, when it happened in the episode, why it was happening, your pulse. So they could say, like, let's say you're watching The Walking Dead on your new Xbox One with the Kinect, and tense scene happens, your emotion goes to, oh no, what's going to happen? Your heart rate speeds up slightly because you're nervous for the character.
And commercial.
Exactly. Yes. And then they can see, are you still watching the commercial?
Uh-huh.
My attention went away from the TV once the commercial went on. Let's say I have my phone next to me. I go grab phone, start looking it'll
be like Spotify when you turn it down. It'll just pause.
Right. Exactly. And so there's a movie actually. It's like some indie movie or low budget ish movie maybe. I don't know. I found it online. People were talking about it on Reddit, and people were linking to it. But it was creepy as heck. Right. And so it's like this future where people live in these rooms. Everything's provided for them. They live in these rooms that are in one giant video screen, basically. The floor, the ceiling, the walls, everything. Then you earn your money by going to these like gyms that are hooked up to some sort of power system, and you make power for everything that powers the world. And so it's kind of like this weird kind of voluntary It is efficient, yes, but so then you go back to your room and the only thing to do is like use your Kinect type interface and play games or watch TV. And so this guy, he's like laying in bed and he's like doing these gun animations, like like blowing, like pulling the trigger on a shotgun and cocking the gun.
Right.
And so then like a commercial break comes on like in between levels, and the commercial break is like for some weird porn thing or something, and he's like, "Do I want to like?" I was having fun playing my game.
This advertisement will open in another browser.
All right.
You won't lose your game.
Yeah, and so he was kind of, and he does like this hand motion to like go away, basically. And it was kind of like, if you want to dismiss this ad, it'll cost you this many credits.
Oh.
And he was like, and he looks at his credits, and he's like, I don't want to do that. But like buying into the porn cost less. And so he winds up buying into the porn, and it's just like, and it said something like, "What were you going to do with your hands anyway?" or something like that. It was like something in the ad or whatever was saying that, and he was just kind of like, whatever. And like to buy stuff, you do like this come on motion, like you're waving someone near you, and so he was just kind of like laying in bed, was just like smirks at the TV and just like waves the like the ad towards him basically, and then it starts. Well, I kind of was like, since it was on YouTube, it was like some bootleg copy on YouTube. I was like clicking through it to see where it would go. Well, it eventually got to where you're not watching, and it was forcing you to watch. It was like sounding alarm. He's like looking away. There was like some sort of awful thing happening. It looked like it was maybe, I don't know if it was, but it seemed like the emotion level, I couldn't tell exactly what was going on, but it seemed like almost like a rape was happening or something. And he didn't want to see it and felt somehow complicit in what was happening or whatever, and was like, he didn't want to see, so he was like covering his eyes, and the room turns red, and it's like basically warning him he's not watching it. I felt like, oh god, this is like what could happen if Microsoft stuff eventually, like some dark future could happen from this.
Right. And see, it's funny because my initial thought was, if it's trying to look for you in order to play something, I will oftentimes be in the kitchen doing the dishes or something and be playing something on television. Right. And Microsoft is telling me I'm probably not going to be able to pull that off.
Maybe. I don't know.
That's the part we don't know, right?
Yeah. I mean, I do know that when you sit through ads, there was a patent filed back in like 2011. And the patent had an idea for basically a new Kinect, that was going to take your attention into consideration, your mood into consideration, that sort of thing, and then award you achievements based on how many ads you watched and paid attention to.
Oh, wow, that's the opposite of achievements.
Right? I know. Let's reward you for having no life.
Here's a coupon.
Yeah. Yeah. And so it was really awful sounding, and it freaks me out just because. Okay, I'm jumping ahead. I'm going to the news stuff just to talk about Prism some.
Yeah.
Okay.
No. Go ahead.
So Prism, I don't know if you guys have heard, but there's been this new thing that's kind of been leaked. There was an agent involved in everything who felt, from what I've heard, guilty about being involved in it. Had a PowerPoint presentation, a training PowerPoint presentation that he sent to, I think it was the Washington Post. It's a U.S. military guy, some sort of agent. I think he's part of the NSA. I guess you could call him maybe a spy. I'm not sure exactly what the titles are over there, what that means. But so Prism is this system. I guess it's a mix between a system and a I guess system is the right word for it, but basically they have this data center type algorithm type software stuff that allows them to have direct taps on the internet, download all traffic coming through some main lines. Then also they approached all of the big names in the web in general, Microsoft being the very first one back in 2007, and said, we would like to have direct access to your servers. And Microsoft said, that sounds A-OK, NSA. Spy on all of America for free. So that's what they did. And now, I read another article the other day. I think it was just yesterday I read this article. And there is, in all versions of Windows, after Windows 95, there is a certain DLL that they did not remove their comments in. And okay, so a DLL is like what it stands for is a dynamic link library, and it's a collection of code basically that helps a program run. For all of you guys who are non-techie out there, that's the really basic version or explanation of what that means. And so they left some comments in their code that say NSA key and key, and some of them even have 3 keys. And so this was brought up back in, like, I want to say in 2008, 2009 maybe, at like a hacker convention. Somebody had discovered this, going through, like, just kind of scanning the Windows files basically and looking what they could find, found this NSA stuff, approached some Microsoft folks who were at this hacking convention. They said, like, yeah, this is a thing, but we're not going to tell you anything else about it, what it means. Then they discovered a 3rd key, and even the Microsoft people were shocked as to what that meant, because they didn't even know. They knew about the 2, but the 3rd they didn't even realize. And so what happens over there at Microsoft when they're making the OSs, the new versions of Windows, is that they're so segregated and segmented that nobody knows what the other people's doing. And so there was someone who put in a 3rd key by the request of the government to have direct access to these machines.
And people elsewhere are saying they didn't know about it.
Yes. And so there's some that some people did and some that other people do not. Mm-hmm. And so every version of Windows from after Windows 95, so 98, ME, XP, 2000, NT, 7, 8, all of them
and it just keeps on going.
Have backdoors basically that the government can access.
Exciting.
Yes. And so that is a thing. And okay, so Microsoft signs on first to Prism. And not only are they giving them everything, they're giving them direct access to the servers. So all of your email, if you had like a Hotmail account, direct access. Mm-hmm. Web searches, user accounts, all that sort of stuff. Direct access. The government's got direct access to that stuff, which really is like, why? You know, there's like probable cause is not even a thing anymore. They don't even care.
Maybe they like porn spam. Because that's all they're going to get from my old Hotmail account. Yeah, that thing got so full of spam, I gave it up.
Right?
Yeah, I switched a long time ago. So yeah. Go right ahead and spend all your time going through those, because I don't want to.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I have an old Juno account that turned into like a spam account. I would just sign up for random crap and then just send all of that to the Juno account, and then I had like my legit account elsewhere.
Yeah.
But
do you remember when to go on a little tangent here?
Yes.
Do you remember when suddenly all the websites started requiring you to click on the links in the email?
Yes.
And you had to start switching how you did things. Because it's like, I never used to go to this mail. What's my password?
Right. Yeah. I would start doing, there was this service out there called Bug Me Not. Have you ever seen or ever heard of that?
No.
But you could create a temporary email address
just
for logins. And so I would go create a login, make it, like, send it to this temporary email address. And they were kind of like collectively shared email addresses. Like, none of them had passwords, so you couldn't change anything about them.
Okay.
They were just kind of like catch-all accounts. Gotcha. And so you would just hop in, grab, type in the email address you used, and then you would get your code, click it, and then you'd be signed up, and then you would never have to worry about it ever again.
Wow. And
it was awesome. Until they started getting smart to that, and then anything that was at bugmenot.com or whatever was not allowed. And so I was like, darn it. Yeah. But
I'll do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Prism stuff. Ooh.
I know. It's weird. It's really weird.
Yeah. Well, and then you tie it in with this whole Xbox One preview thing, and you're like, okay.
Yeah. And the whole Xbox One, like, it's built off of a Windows 8 framework. So do they still have these backdoors in there?
Probably.
Are they watching you? Are they going to be sending that stuff to the government? I mean, the new data center on top of all this has all been in the news recently, and I've been eating it up like crazy. But on top of all this, there's a data center that's being built in Utah right now. The data center will be able to store 1 yottabyte. And you say, what is a yottabyte? That is 100 septillion bytes.
And you say, what is that? No, but I did.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, okay, so this is a size so large that it is
made up.
Basically, yeah.
Of course. They always are. Like,
yeah.
We've been dealing with that for a while now.
Right.
But, yeah, so in Utah, home of Scott Johnson.
The morning street.
Yes, I don't want to blame him for this. But he's in Utah.
It seems legit.
So this is a Microsoft data center, or this is the Prism thing?
Well, this is an NSA data center that they haven't given any sort of project title or what it's going to be doing, but they basically have said they're going to be downloading the entire internet all of the time and storing it there for mass storage and ability to run through at will.
Well, should be fun. I mean, we've seen the stats of, like, YouTube.
Right.
You can't possibly watch all the videos that exist there.
Yes.
So,
well,
if you think about the internet.
Right. And so, going back to what abilities they do have, so you think there's no way in heck they could ever view everything that they ever wanted to see.
Right.
Well, okay, so for the Boston bomber stuff,
the
FBI, I think it was the FBI, it may have been the NSA too, or maybe the Department of Homeland Security. They all kind of blend together now. They're all the same. Yeah. In my mind, they're just like a bunch of acronyms that all do the same thing.
True.
So it was one of those three. It was an NPR little news blurb I was listening to. It was an audio piece. But they were saying that when the Boston bomber attack happened, they said, I want every video that has someone in red and was wearing a white hat that is traveling north from all of the cameras that were watching the scene, go. And within, like, milliseconds, they were getting videos back from all these cameras all down the streets there that were cataloging everybody who had red, everybody who was wearing a white hat, and was traveling a certain direction. So they may not be able to sift personally through everything, but they have algorithms that they can say, I want to see this, I want to find Metatronic stuff where he's talking about anything about the NSA. And they've got something that probably will go, oh, here's several videos where he's talked about this.
And then suddenly, this video / podcast disappears.
Yes, exactly. So that really freaks me out. And Microsoft being the first people to hop on the bandwagon to say, oh, here government, you can have everything we ever have about anybody who's ever done anything with us.
Right.
Kind of freaks me out.
Now, do you know, does this... I'm going to assume yes, but does this apply to, like, the Windows Phone OS stuff?
I would think so, but I'm not sure.
Because then that takes on a whole other realm for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of people. Let's be honest.
A lot means...
It's a large amount of people,
yes. But as far as like the whole market share of what phones use what OS,
Windows PC a lot more common than Windows Phone.
This is true.
Yes.
Now there is another news story that's recently hit because of the Prism stuff and because of the data center stuff. Everybody's like, what else is the government doing? Well, also the NSA approached Verizon and said, we'd like to have all of your customers' information. And Verizon said, absolutely. So on a monthly basis, they send them all of the metadata of your calls, which means they send you the location where you called, how long you called, who you called, those sort of specifics. It's not necessarily the audio of the conversation, but it's all of the roundabouts. So if they get your location when you call, that means that they could, over time, gather a map of where you like to frequent. What's your usual routine? I call from here, I start here, and then I somehow end up over here, and I call from here, and then I end up back over here. And sometimes I have conversations with a friend that last a couple of hours, and then I talk while I'm going to the coffee shop. I don't know. They're just basically, they could get a map of what you like doing.
So another reason I'm really happy to not have a cell phone.
That's true. You're one of those weirdos.
They can track me with the IP, but
right. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not nearly as big of a deal as tracking the exact location with who I may be talking to or something.
Yeah. And so far, the PS4 sounds more appealing to me, going back to what consoles we like and that sort of thing. Just because they're not on the Prism list. They're not talking about the used game stuff. I mean, they've already said that used games are going to be a thing and that you're okay to take games to other people's places, that sort of thing. So that's cool with me. I like that. And I like the possible video editing capabilities. So that's what I have on the new consoles. Microsoft really freaking me out.
Yeah, I mean I've used this word a lot already, but it's just really creepy.
Yeah.
I mean, just the idea that Microsoft is so large.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about it when you've got your webcam connected to your Windows PC, and that's the same as this new Xbox One, minus the fact that your computer will still run, for now, without the webcam plugged in.
Oh, right. Yeah. And that's also like a moment where you just go, what? When they say, by the way, the Kinect always has to be connected.
Yes.
And you go, I'm sorry, what?
If there's not a heartbeat in front of it, it will explode.
All right. I'm sorry, Dave.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, I mean, before we get any more information, I think PS4 is
the better
the
option.
Winner. Yeah.
Yeah. So far, right now, PS4 is the way to go. Just solely on the privacy concerns and the used game concerns. Also, the always online. The PlayStation has already said you won't have to always be online. Xbox says you have to be online once every 24 hours, or else
the game won't work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even single player, you can't even do anything unless you're online once every 24 hours.
It's funny too because you remember, like, Xbox has done such a good job of sort of not being, quote, Microsoft.
Right.
Like, it was the one part that wasn't, it's Microsoft, I'm not touching it.
Right.
And now it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like, this is what happens when the business people and the ones who sign these crazy agreements with the government start taking over your game console.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that is some weird crap, and I don't want to have anything to do with it. I'm sorry, guys. That's what I got to say.
Yeah.
I don't want to have anything to do with that crap.
And I completely agree.
Yeah. Should we talk about E3, or we want to leave that be for now?
We'll wait.
All right.
We'll have a lot more to talk about.
Yeah,
especially
once
console stuff. Yeah, definitely.
And so, going back to the kind of like digital world stuff. Did you hear about the what is it, Steubenville rapists? There was like a bunch of 17, 16-year-old guys who like raped a girl who was, it was an underage girl. Like, I feel like she was 16 or 17. Member of their school. She was drunk. Then they apparently all group raped her while she was passed out. Did you hear about that?
It's not ringing a bell, but I may have.
Yeah. Well, so some interesting things have come to light as far as that goes. Let me see. Here we go. I'm going to see if I can pull this up real quick. It was a member of Anonymous. Okay, so these guys went to trial. They were all like star football players that were hoping not to have a scarred record so they could be star football players in college, basically.
Then maybe they shouldn't be doing things to scar their record.
Yeah. So
always makes me laugh.
Right, and then they go to trial, and the town's kind of like, oh, these guys, they're just boys being boys. Like, they just kind of left it be, and the girl is like getting railed on for falsely accusing these people because that was basically the result of the trial.
And this is Ohio.
Yes, I think that's right. Is that what you saw here?
Yeah,
Steubenville, Ohio.
So, you continue. I want to see what they're close to.
Okay.
City-wise.
Oh, right. Gotcha. Well, so there was a member of Anonymous who found a video somehow, either socially engineered it or found a video of the guys, or the accused, I should say, confessing and bragging about what they did. Then brought that information to light, and then got the guys in trouble because they had admitted to what they had done. Well, so now this is the weird plot twist here, is that these guys have been sentenced and they got a year. Well, the hacker from Anonymous, what he did was also illegal, doing his hacking thing, and he could get 10.
Nice.
Yeah, so bringing someone to justice can get you 10 years in jail, whereas raping a girl, underage, drunk, passed out, gets you a year.
Well, you see here, it's not far from Pittsburgh, and I'm going to regret saying this, aren't I? But there's a certain quarterback who had some issues with people claiming that.
Oh, is that so?
Yes.
I
So
don't
gonna
follow
leave it
the
at
football
that.
stuff.
I'm
But...
not going to say his name. Everyone knows who it is.
Okay.
And I'm not saying I believe he did it. I'm just saying it's in the area.
It's in the area and it's a thing.
So I guess that just that general section has this problem.
Right.
But yeah, that is crazy. I mean,
It doesn't make sense, man.
no, it's just like people in jail for drugs,
Right?
like for years.
Yeah.
And we're letting other people out of jail because they're overcrowded that actually committed some actual crimes.
Right.
To make more room for people who smoke pot or sold some pot or
Right.
just something ridiculous.
I know.
Give me a break.
It is ridiculous. That's the best way to describe it. I mean, a legal system that views rape as a 1-year offense and finding evidence that proves someone did the rape as a 10-year offense, it just seems totally messed up to me.
Yeah.
It's very backwards, and there's some serious rework that needs to happen.
So it looks like they get away with this because they are under 18.
Right. They get away with this. Yeah, exactly.
But they're clearly old enough to fall under that precedent of,
Right. Yeah, they know what they did.
trying them as adults.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you don't rape someone without knowing what you're doing.
I know.
Um,
Yeah, and it's
That's-
not something that happens on accident.
That's kind of crazy. But,
right.
As as my friend would say back home, Ohio is the armpit of America.
My
Not
mother-
my opinion, his.
That's awesome. So let's see. Then, do we want to talk about the Seriously JS stuff? You want to talk about it? Kind of. This is a random next topic.
Yeah, let's just mention it briefly, and then we'll go into detail when we've been able to play with it a little, maybe.
Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. So we're both web devs, like we said. And,
Yes.
And
Most of the time.
all right, and Matt found a pretty awesome little web toy right now, as far as I know. I mean, I know it can be a lot of other things can be done with it.
It looks that way, yeah.
Yeah, but it's this JavaScript framework that allows for the dynamic composition and compositing of video in the web browser on the fly.
Right.
And so the demo, you can check out the demo real quick on it was seriouslyjs.org.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, and just take a look, and it will blow your mind.
Right, yeah. Just your first click in there when you're playing it should definitely be the raw footage.
Yeah.
Because once you see that and then you click through them, it's kind of amazing.
Yeah, I about wet myself. It was amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait to play around with that. I've been wanting to do green screen type of work, and wow, does that make it easy.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it was awesome.
But we'll certainly have some updates there. I'll want to play around with it a little bit.
Yeah.
And,
How cool would it be if we set up a green screen and we just could do that on a live stream?
oh, that would be amazing. And let them choose where
Right.
we are.
Yeah. That would be Oh, dude, we could totally do that. Maybe, I don't know, if we made a Grease Monkey plugin using that as I don't know. Well, maybe we'll see.
We'll definitely look into it.
Yes.
Wink.
Wink, wink. Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of videos.
Yes. Okay.
Like that, there's a segue for
There you go. So we figured that in every episode of the podcast, we want to talk about a viral video. And this time, Prancer size. Holy Jeebus, the Prancer size.
There were camels about.
We were looking at their toes.
Yes.
Oh, God.
I've
Okay.
never seen so many camels in spandex before.
Okay. Yeah, if you guys want to go look it up, if you're not one of the 6 million people who've already viewed it, definitely YouTube search Prancer size. Pause the video right now. Watch the Prancer size. It's about 5 minutes long, but you really don't have to watch the full 5 minutes. About the first minute and a half gets you an idea of what exactly is going on.
Yeah.
And if you're not rolling on the floor laughing by that time, then you have no soul.
I also highly suggest you try it at work and see how long it takes before people notice that you're doing it. Because that's kind of fun too.
Yes, indeed.
And don't do it too quickly because then it'll look like you might be, I don't know, having a stroke or something. I would suggest keeping at her speed.
Yeah, that's exactly. Oh man, but that is hilarious. And I don't know how does a person. Okay, I'm going to assume that you've paused the video, paused us, gone and watched the video and come back by now. And so I'm going to be talking about it. If you haven't, then shame on you.
Yeah,
and I'm going to
pause it now then.
Yeah. Okay.
Jeez.
If this wasn't good enough warning, then
yes. It's hardly a spoiler alert, so
Yeah.
if you think it is, too bad.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I don't know how someone goes from liking horses to dancing like a hippie down the road.
Is it dancing?
I don't. Well, that's why I say dancing like a hippie, because like if you watch like weird like I don't know. Oh darn! I did it again and knocking this board.
It's like Penn Sunday School. Man, they used to slam their hands into the table, and he used to get so upset at them.
Yes.
But I want you to imagine, if you haven't watched it or you're gonna watch it again. Imagine if she was in the water, and it will make so much more sense. Because her doing it down the street is very confusing.
Well, if you're doing it in the water, I dare say a lifeguard may be diving in after you.
Yeah, but it makes more sense. What do you do with a person doing that down the street?
Right.
And I'm not saying it's not some sort of exercise. There's movement involved.
Yes, there is.
But
I don't know if
it just I want this to be like the next Harlem Shake. I want everybody doing this.
We should do a green screen version.
Yes.
And then use some Seriously JS to do some effects.
You can pick where we're doing Prancer size.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Well, that's basically everything we had to talk about today. And we filled up an hour and a half, almost an hour and 40.
Yeah, crazy.
I know.
Well, turns out this is easier than it looks.
Yes, it is. All you people who talk about podcasting being hard are liars.
Yeah, maybe you should start just talking. Or maybe that's what you're doing. I don't know. I listen to so many of them. They seem to have fun.
Right. It sounded like you almost went what is that, Long Island Jewish accent kind of thing.
Oh,
I listen to so many of them.
Oh, yes.
I don't know what's going on.
I can't do it, but if you haven't listened to the morning stream, I'm gonna suggest it because
That's true.
Because sometimes I believe his name is Larry Superman.
Larry Superman.
Yeah, he shows up from time to time,
Yeah.
and that just makes me smile. So.
Anytime they start talking about Superman, I do believe he shows up.
Yes, he does.
The Superman.
And I just so you know, I believe Superman comes out this coming Friday.
Does he really?
I think.
Oh, snap.
If it's not this one, it's the next.
Oh, should
So-
I wait to see it till we get back with my brother from vacation? So we all can go do it?
Might be a good idea. Yeah.
Okay.
And then, so just fair warning, they're probably going to be talking about him a lot soon. So now's a good chance to hop in and hear it. That's my friendly tip for the day.
Well, this has been a lot of fun. I've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too.
Good.
So just remember to leave your name suggestions in the comments.
Absolutely,
is what we
yes.
want.
Leave the name suggestions. Tell us what you felt about it. Tell us ways we can improve. Things you'd like to hear more about. Maybe some suggestions on viral videos. Anything you guys have in your head that you want to talk about that's related to the podcast, drop it in the comments.
Right. And did we talk about adding in the call-in section at some point?
No, we didn't. Okay. But we can talk about that maybe next time?
Yeah, well, we'll just plant the seed. We want to do call-ins in the future.
Yes.
We don't know when yet, but, just
we
keep
may
it
have,
in mind.
Yeah, it could be a Skype thing or something.
Yeah.
Something like that. Anyway, guys, it's been a lot of fun. It's been Metatronics.
And Matt.
And Matt.
Yes.
See you guys.